GRIDLIFE GT is on track for their third race of the weekend, and it's Matan Rosenberg, Christian Aranha on the front row. There they are. It's the 57 out front, then Matan Rosenberg in the outside of the front row. Then it's Gary Wimble in third place alongside Chris DeLucia in fourth. And then it's Eric Meadows and Anthony Scafuto in a Corvette and Camaro, respectively, in row number 3, followed by Alex Peitz and A.J. Hartman. And the final 2 rows for this starting grid will be Eric Jensen, Charles Spence, if they got that car repaired. I don't see it out there, unfortunately, but it'll be Sean Bassett, Jordan Wisely at the tail of the field. Here we go. Time to go racing in GRIDLIFE GT, race number 3, Aranha versus Rosenberg. Green flag, and we're underway.
Yeah, we'll see if Aranha can hold off Rosenberg, who's just been absolutely dominant as they start off on this drag race. Obviously, Aranha, he's got the inside of this, so he's going to have a bit of an advantage going into turn 1 and getting up the hill, but Rosenberg has been so dominant, and he gets the pass done in easy fashion before this race really even has a chance to kick off.
All right, so as they head up the hill towards 3 and down the S's, Matan Rosenberg in the number 484 is out in front, but remember how much Aranha ran him down last event. It was 9.5 seconds down to about 4. I do think that 57 might be a hair quicker here at this racetrack now that he's got it working in anger. Anthony Scafuto picked up a couple spots there on the start, I think. And, oh, Jordan Wisely going for a ride.
Thankfully, the runoff there wasn't too detrimental, but Aranha is not letting Rosenberg get very far off track. He got that pass done pretty tidily off the get-go, but it's great to see that Aranha is going to keep that battle going to Rosenberg. So it's going to be all Corvette out front, at least for the first part of this, but do not give up on DeLucia, who's had a fantastic time and a fantastic running. So he is well within this fight, and I think if Aranha can get back in and fight in the mirrors of Rosenberg, then DeLucia will enter the chat.
A look at the weather. Just note that radar showing a little bit of precip coming our way. Is it going to get here before the end of this race? We're on the spec Toyo Proxys R. When there is wet weather, any Toyo tire will do. Big slip up for DeLucia. He rides the rumble strips. Point being, they can't change tires in a 13-minute race. So we might find out if a little bit of precip comes down. Whoa, Aranha's in the grass at turn 12, right on the limit of the road, and battles on between 2 C5s.
I mean, it wasn't a clean exit, but he kept the speed going all the way through, did not lift at any point in time. He's getting a good turn in on 1. And he was going to bite just a little bit of time at a Rosenberg through that section. To see how this all plays out. Aranha is not giving up. He is all about this right now, and this is the fight that we needed here in GT.
Well, we just had an awesome GLTC race, so see if the GT guys can follow it up. It's 2 C5s at the pointy end of the field. And Aranha, his car was not working quite right at the beginning of the weekend. Now that he's gotten it sorted, it was just climbing through the field in race 2. And now he's battling for the top spot. And DeLucia's been left behind. That car is so fast on a straightaway, but just doesn't quite seem to have the maneuverability of the Corvettes at this stage in the development of the car. But at least he's got it running real well. It was an LS swap in the offseason for DeLucia, now part of the KDM Tuners team.
Yeah, looking really, really good so far. And I think given pretty much any other race, if it wasn't Rosenberg and Aranha in front of him, he'd be definitely up there battling for that top spot. And unfortunately now it looks like the yellow Corvette of Aranha pulling back just a touch, but you don't know exactly what all is going on. Man, a lot more of a dive, a bit more aggressive on that front splitter. Now he tucks back in. This is a little bit closer than it looked coming back in. Maybe that front splitter now coming into play under braking.
Now, Christian looks very comfortable, especially on the entry to turn 10. You saw him use a little rumble strip on the entry to the turn, all the way out to the right. And as Greg Creamer always says, comfort breeds confidence and confidence breeds speed. Aranha's right there. And I think, again, if he can figure out where to poke the hole in the defense of Rosenberg, we might have a change for the lead.
He's doing a couple interesting things. Like the line he's taking is a lot more aggressive. He's not going out as wide, but look, he's cutting curbs. He's hustling this car around quite a lot. Matan Rosenberg seems more comfortable, a little bit more relaxed, but now they're both grabbing some curb.
Here's Jensen on defense from Jordan Wisely. They engine swapped this car overnight. Had an issue yesterday and have gotten it sorted, but the Veloster on the attack of the LS Swap FRS, and Jensen just climbing over the rumbles.
Both of them just opting to take the shortest distance from point A to point B. Unfortunately, there is a pretty big drop-off and a lot of gator backs going through that part of the track.
Wisely again in the front-wheel drive turbocharged 4-cylinder car. The power, Jensen didn't get moving. That car doesn't seem to getting out of the corners so well, and he's on defense now. Wisely in trail.
Yeah, that was quite sketchy, and they might be looking for at least a scuff-free bumper after that bit of an incident. I would not put that on the Veloster. That just is more of a racing incident, if you will.
Yeah, just anticipating throttle when it doesn't quite get there in time. That's happened before. Aranha a little slow leaving 10B that time and lost some ground to Rosenberg this time through.
It's hard to say. I don't know of any spots where Matan Rosenberg is losing any real time. It's just he is so smooth and consistent through all of these corners, and it's very, very rare to see him even have a bad turn in or a bad exit. So
AJ Hartman is back up in the conversation of the top 5 again, but there's something not quite up to speed with this car as of the middle of race 2. It was a race-winning car at Carolina Motorsports Park, but something's not quite there. You know, again, we know it's not a straight-line monster in comparison to the V8s, but I just think that there's something to his liking this weekend.
I mean, it's also an aero monster as well, so it's inherently going to have that drag coming down through the straight section. But yeah, halfway through our previous race, he backed off, lost 2 spots, and it's kind of been sequestered to that 6th place position ever since. So tough to say what all happened. Could be a power thing, could be a braking thing. I mean, there's a lot going on with that car.
Total opposite vehicles here.
Right.
Eric Meadows in the 3, slicked off. There's really no aero to speak of on this car other than that tiny little rear duckbill that Meadows has. This is a V8 straight line monster. Not going to be much of a cornering car. Hartman's car, twin turbo V6, doesn't make the power and the torque of the V8, but he does have a whole lot of aero that he builds himself. Does all of his own carbon fiber work. That car can generate as many G's in a corner as a TCR car. We saw that last year at Lime Rock Park. Just immense downforce generation, but you see on the straight lines just struggling with the power a bit. Anthony Scafuto in the Z28, not too far behind another V8 powered car.
Aranha now falling back to just under a second behind Rosenberg. And it looks like DeLucia about the same gap between 9/10 between those vehicles. Hartman doing a good job. I mean, it seems like 80 horsepower or something, or 50, or not as significant where he's all the way back, but enough. I thought, I might have been just my screen, but I thought I saw a couple of drops of rain come down. The big indicator is going to be if we see those wipers flick on, this becomes a very, very different race.
Yeah, there's only 7 minutes left, so you'll have to just deal with it, too. That's the hard part, right? There's nothing you can really do
grin
about
and bear it.
Yeah.
You just grin and bear it.
And Rosenberg is dominating this show right now. 78 points to DeLucia's 59, Aranha's 52. But given Aranha is running in second place here, I think he's going to be a real threat in race 4 as well. Don't forget we have the invert, too, as well,
yes.
to talk about.
Yeah, so the invert later on, and that'll be a random number dice roll, so between 1 and 6.
Yeah, dice roll from the race winner of this race will determine how many cars we invert in the 4th and final race. We do that in all 3 series.
I think we go D&D. We get a 16 die, and we really throw this for a loop. I'm just saying.
Man, you're going to stress out race control even more, Jacob.
That is not my problem.
Fair enough.
My job is entertainment, Kyle.
So the battle has cooled a bit for the leaders at the moment, but I'm not going to call Aranha out of this. Remember that he didn't launch great in race 2 either, but by the end of the race, he was reeling in Rosenberg, so we'll see.
Yeah, but he was significantly more aggressive on the curbs through that section. He had a few disruptive spots, but look at Rosenberg. He's going for it, too. They're line for line going through that section. I mean, you could ghost car over each other through there. But it does seem like Aranha, I mean, there's not a massive aero difference between the two, but it does feel like Aranha is able to take those S's just a touch quicker. He gets a little bit more aggressive on the curbs and does a great job. But then when we pull out into these straight sections, Matan Rosenberg has just got little slip out there.
Aranha's best lap a little slower than Rosenberg's this time. They're both in Rosenberg's just at the high end of the 130s, which is a really fast lap around here.
Right, yeah. Like we're complaining about that.
Right, with just about 350 horsepower for Rosenberg's car. There's a horsepower limit of 450 in this series. This is a power to weight class, just like Eibach GLTC. This is 8.9 pounds per horsepower. Of course, we have different modifiers, just like in GLTC. The more complex you make your vehicle, the more weight you add. Although GT, there are much different rules around those modifiers. For example, in GLTC, when you add aero to your car, you have to add percentages of weight to compensate for the aero bits you add. In GT, you don't. You actually get negative modifier for not having aero. So by default, you can have aerodynamics on your vehicle, and you get to go lighter if you remove it. So it incentivizes, more lap time, basically. Let's go fast.
Yes, that's it. That's it. At the end of the day, we just want him to go fast. Fast and fair. Unfortunately for Aranha, it looks like he is still dropping back, now down 1.2. So not really making any inroads at this point in time. Rosenberg out front, just keeping that red Corvette a-moving.
Now, I had seen Jordan Wisely get by Eric Jensen.
Ooh, lockup.
Yeah, little lockup there. I'd seen Wisely get by Jensen, but he's scored down in 11th now, so I'm not sure if we missed him pulling off. I don't think it was 4 laps ago, though. So
looks like nobody's really improving on this. Cafuto wasn't able to on his. Jensen, same thing.
And just getting by Sean Bassett there. This is a new car. I don't think he's seen it on track yet this year, so still kind of learning all the quirks of it. And getting some laps in anger.
He pulled off last race as well.
There's Chris DeLucia, and leaders are in Brazelton, and he is in Atlanta right now. He's a little ways back at the moment.
That could be an hour and a half behind with traffic.
Well, 13 seconds might as well be.
Yeah.
But again, a lonesome third is still a third, and you still get decent points. When you're looking big picture down all the way to the end of the season at Laguna Seca, I'm happy with podiums.
Consistency. Yeah, and because you never know, the top two get into a bit of a scuffle, and that could be it for an entire weekend. And you sitting in third for 2 events could be more than enough to start leading the points if these two decide they want to, get a little bit more scrappy.
Watching the gap between the race leaders, it came down a lot last lap.
Yeah. Aranha is now back on it. So I don't know what all changed, if he just got a bee in his bonnet and decided he wanted to go back racing. And it looks like it, taking a lot of curb coming through the S's now. He's getting a little bit squirrely in the rear end, but able to find the grip on the exits. But he is definitely, as I said, scooting, as the kids say. Scooting, yeah.
0.6 of a second between the two. Ooh, look out.
That's
right
a lot
to the
of curb.
edge of the road there. And that's kind of the natural racing line, but the further out you go, at the end of the curb, there's an access road. And if you drive out too far, you drop off the end of that curb, and it's a very aggressive bounce. And if you have any yaw or angle in the car at all, and you drop off the end of that curb, it can send you for a pretty wild ride. So you just have to be anticipating that. There's Gary Wimble running fourth. We haven't really talked a lot about Gary this weekend. Kind of a quiet guy, but very talented, and he's been with us for a long time. Ran this car in GLTC for some years, and opted to stick some more aero on the car and run up in GT. And this will be a top 5 if he can hang on to it.
Yeah. Seems to be doing a great job. Not a lot in front or behind for him, so just running his own laps, but get those points. And it's the season is definitely a marathon, not a sprint.
Certainly true. And the leaders coming down the hill now. It's about 5 car lengths between them. And still no white, just keeping an eye on the clock as well, because I would expect a white flag next time.
It's got to come around next time, yeah. So Aranha's, he's going to have a bit of a gut feeling on that. I don't know if he's got a clock still in that bad boy, but he's going to get the hurry up and make a pass warning here pretty soon when the white flag comes out. And he's 6/10 now, but look at through these S's. This is what I was talking about. He seems to be picking up a decent amount of pace through this section. He's a little bit more aggressive through, but the car looks very, very planted, whereas Rosenberg has to cut a bit more.
Man, little lateral slide for Aranha there, and you see him just making so aggressive. He's trying to find time in those S's because he might feel like that's where he has that advantage.
Yeah.
So if he can just be a bit more aggressive, cut some more curb, then he can make up some time and then be within the slipstream here. We're talking about 147 miles an hour in GLGT here on the backstretch. So you're hauling, and that slipstream with these cars poking holes in the air makes it a very interesting show.
Yeah. Agreed. It's a great time. I mean, it's phenomenal racing for sure. I'm excited to see this grid get a little bit more expanded as well. I think a few drivers from TC, they could probably move up. It'd be interesting to see how that would all work out, but
that's happened a little bit already, and with it has come, a strengthening of the grid in the tail half of last year and into this year. We expect more folks to join again. It's still, becoming more and more mature as a race series. There's still a lot of builds left to reach their kind of zenith, so to speak. But white flag. This is the last lap of the race, and Christian Aranha is as close as he's been and just picked up the best lap of the event. So 0.4 of a second. He's got to make that up and make the pass on this final lap. That's a tall order when you've got the season champion for GLTC in front of you.
Yeah, and Rosenberg, he's going to know that. Well, there we go. Rosenberg decides to go on the wide line. Aranha says, nope, straight, as the crow flies across the track. and absolutely gaps that set of rumble strips, and this is it. This is full kill mode, and it looks like Rosenberg gets a little bit squirrely through there, loses a lot of grip. Aranha is now completely on his tail. Is this going to be a nail-biter finish? I'll tell you one thing, Aranha wants it that way.
Yeah, and look at Rosenberg's car, maybe get a little gap on the straightaway there from 5 to 6, but it's going to come down to the backstretch as it has for so many races here this weekend. Dogfight and a slipstream down the backstretch. Here we go.
Yeah, Aranha's got it. He's got a great exit out of that turn. He's going to be cutting in real close through here without losing the slipstream. He's got a bit more aero on it, so hopefully he can pick up a bit more time. And this is it. Our drone flying over. And Aranha's got to close that gap through here. If not, he's going to have to go for a big, big dive bomb. But I think he's just a little bit too far out. It's going to be a tough ask to get that done.
It doesn't quite have the legs, but look at the braking. How much Aranha gained. He's there now as they come through 10B, up over the crest of 11. If he can just get the drive, he slips and he can't get there. Matan Rosenberg comes down the hill, and as he's done so many times this weekend, picks up a checkered flag, continues his dominant form in GRIDLIFE GT at Road Atlanta, but not by much, 0.4 of a second.
I would have liked Aranha to make that move a couple of laps earlier. He had it in him. I think if he had maybe 2 laps like that, he would have been able to take the fight to him. But unfortunately, going a bit wide under the bridge, gets up on those rumble strips, can't put the traction down. It's hard to make power when your wheel's in the air. So Aranha's got everything he needs to get this done, to take it to Rosenberg. Just unfortunately, the timing did not work out for him. And now, finally, DeLucia across the line. It just tells you how big of a gap it is to those leaders, but we'll see that close up as the season continues, and that is going to be Wimble dropping into 4th.
Yeah, Wimble P4, Eric Meadows and Anthony Scafuto, they had a little fight going on there on the last lap of the race, and I don't know where they even have ended up, but I would expect to see them come over the hill. There they go. Hey. Scafuto got around, it looks like.
Yeah.
So where has Meadows gone is the next. There he is.
Meadows way back there, so...
Right.
Big spread. I mean, listen, it's a new series. Everyone's trying to figure out the best way to get the pace out of their particular vehicles, and we're getting there. But so far, Corvette is the answer.
Let's have a look at our race results for GRIDLIFE GT Race 3 of the weekend. Rosenberg, Aranha, DeLucia, Wimble, Scafuto, your top 5 of the last lap pass there from the 87 on the 3. Alex Peitz holds the 7th spot. Jensen, we saw him come into the pits at the tail end of the race. Sean Bassett scored a 9th. AJ Hartman, apparently having boost issues, didn't get this race all the way to the checkers.
That explains it. That's about that 50 horsepower we were looking for, and so was he. So if he gets that sorted, and Jordan Wisely in that Veloster end, we saw, I guess, pulling off after maybe that little bit of contact. Yeah,
unfortunate there for Wisely, but that's going to be it for GRIDLIFE GT race number 3. We'll have a look at the highlights for it as well. We had a battle brewing, and I don't think we're done yet. It was race 4 in South Carolina that we saw the biggest mix-up, and we're likely to see that here as well. Highlights, race 3, GLGT on the start. 2 of the C5s side by side. The C8 of Alex Peitz took him 3 across into the opening corner.
Yeah, great opening there, but unfortunately it looked like Rosenberg just had a much better dig than Aranha did, and then he held that spot and was basically uncontested until a little bit later on. DeLucia had a great running in 3rd as well. Got into a little bit back and forth for the first part of the track, but it just more or less turned into a bit of a time attack race as everyone found their spots in their order and got to go for a nice cruise around a beautiful facility.
Aranha got close a couple of times, but his advantages are not quite where Rosenberg's are. So, I think as far as the backstretch, if you don't have the legs to get into turn 10, you're not going to get there. Matan Rosenberg, though, GRIDLIFE GT Race 3 winner. He's looking good for the season title here, or the weekend title, and certainly the season if he can perform like that. Checkered flag, GRIDLIFE GT Race 3 goes to Matan Rosenberg. We'll be right back.